personal comments not having to do with official performance of city duties. Please do not use profanity, name calling, or any other behavior that would disrupt the proceedings this afternoon. Speech or other activity, such as yelling from the audience, applauding, finger popping, that disrupts the orderly business of the council. This will not be allowed. After a warning, continued behavior that disrupts the meeting may result in you being asked to leave the meeting. Thank you. City Clerk, how many public communication requests do you have?
Mayor, we have a total of 19 requests. 15 requests will be heard during public communications. And as you have requested, the remaining 3 will be heard after we complete consent calendar.
Okay, then I'm gonna keep this to 3 minutes. And you can begin calling up. And what we ask is that when your name is called, please go to the back here at the podium. If you don't get up when your name is called and go back to the podium, we're gonna go to the next person. We'll come back to you.
Our first speaker is Tariq A., followed by Micah Rose.
Good afternoon, Mayor Warren and members of the Fontana City Council. My name is Tariq Asim, and I'm a lifelong resident of Fontana and a former Fontana City employee and a current graduate student at the University of Southern California. I'm here to speak in support of the proposed Planned Parenthood Center in Fontana. There's currently a moratorium on the construction of it. And just, I said this in my last public comment that in Fontana we do not have a healthcare option in the city, and I would encourage Fontana to approve this. A supermajority Fontana residents approved Prop 1 in November of 2022. 20,940 Fontana voters voted yes, that's almost 60%. I understand that the city is looking at a potential bond measure for the upcoming election. And I just wanted to reiterate that Fontana residents want to see this infrastructure, we want to see healthcare opportunities built in our city. We would be more than happy to possibly consider a infrastructure bond measure if we are seeing things that we're already advocating for being implemented right now. So just once again, I wanted to reiterate that I would encourage the Fontana City Council to please approve Planned Parenthood's proposed act. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Micah Rose, followed by Robert Garcia.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for allowing the time for me to speak today. I am Micah Rosa. I am an individual who works within Fontana. And just speaking as someone who works in this area and spends a lot of time here, I recently had a baby, my first child, and I learned that my healthcare would not allow me to go to any doctor within the Fontana city because it is not covered. I understand that you all have Kaiser Permanente, but there are many citizens, residents in your city that simply cannot go to your hospital. And with Planned Parenthood offering as many as 26,000 appointments for residents within your city, it is incredibly essential that you allow Planned Parenthood to build a health center within your city. I hope that you will consider the impact that it will have on your residents, meaning healthcare accessibility for vital testing like STDs and for cancer screenings as well. So I really hope you take that in consideration, the healthcare of your residents, and not about who you would want in your city politically, but more about who you are providing access to care for. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Next is Robert Garcia, followed by Andrea Schmidt.
Robert Garcia is looking for parking right now. I do have his
Yes,
remarks.
thank you.
Okay.
Next person.
Next is Andrea Schmidt.
Good afternoon, Mayor Warren. Good afternoon, City Council members. My name is Andrea Schmidt, and I am the proud product of the City of Fontana. I'm here today on behalf of Planned Parenthood of Orange and San Bernardino counties to once again urge you to end the moratorium that's blocking the construction of the Planned Parenthood Health Center right here in the City of Fontana. As I'm sure you all very well know, Fontana is a medically underserved community. This diverse community deserves access to quality, non-judgmental, low-cost reproductive health care without the intervention of folks' religious or political beliefs. As some of my speakers after me will share, when we're looking at the data in the city of Fontana compared to other cities across the state, Fontana has a higher rate of STIs, including chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis. It has a higher rate of uninsured residents and a higher rate of residents who rely on state-sponsored Medi-Cal. Our team at Planned Parenthood has estimated that we can serve upwards of 2,000 patients every month here if we open a health center here in Fontana. So at this point, the interference, the moratorium that you have placed has blocked thousands and thousands of people from getting reproductive health care. Over the past year, our 3 other sites across San Bernardino County have seen a nearly 20% increase in patient volume. So we know that the community need is there, and at Planned Parenthood, we're ready and willing to serve. And anybody who walks through our doors will be met with non-judgmental care, and we will support them in whatever decisions they are making for their own life. Again, regardless of other folks' religious or political beliefs. So thank you for your time, and once again, encouraging you to please end the moratorium. Thank you.
Next is Alexis Claiborne, followed by Susanna Morales.
Hi, my name is Alexis. I'm the Community Education Supervisor for Planned Parenthood of Orange and San Bernardino counties, and I am here to talk about the importance of opening this Fontana Health Center. Planned Parenthood Health Centers do not turn anyone away, regardless of their personal or financial circumstances, and with the statistics showing that a higher rate of Fontana residents are uninsured or on Medi-Cal compared to the rest of California, opening this health center will provide access to necessary health care for residents who need it and residents who want it. San Bernardino County has some of the highest rates of STIs and unintended pregnancy in the state, and Planned Parenthood services focus on preventative care. This includes things like STI testing and treatment, cancer screenings, contraception, as well as our essential comprehensive health education so that people can make informed decisions about their bodies. Blocking this health center is blocking access to preventative care. As the education supervisor for San Bernardino County, I have firsthand experience working with schools and youth in this community, in this city, and the questions that we get from adolescents in Fontana schools really shows that there's this need for not only the education, but also these services that are accessible and youth-friendly. We have had students express positive experiences that they've had within our health centers and negative interactions that they've had with other healthcare professionals, including their primary care. I have had students talk about how far the other health centers in San Bernardino County are from them and ask specifically about when this health center is going to open. If myself and the health educators that I oversee are hearing this need for the opening of the Fontana Health Center from youth in this community, it's a huge need in this community. Again, my name is Alexis, and I'm here in support of the opening of the Fontana Planned Parenthood Health Center. Thank you for your time.
Next is Susanna Morales, followed by Ulysses M.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for letting me speak, council members. I'm a Fontana resident for 27 years. My name is Susanna Morales. I want to share with you this pamphlet that talks about The truth about Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood describes itself as a trusted care provider. It says care centers provide a whole range of safe, reliable health care and claims the majority is preventive care, which helps prevent unintended pregnancies through contraception, reduces the spread of sexually transmitted infections through testing and treatment and screens for cervical and other cancers. PP claims caring physicians, nurse practitioners, and other staff take time to talk to clients, encouraging them to ask questions in an environment that millions have grown to trust. What does Planned Parenthood really do? Well, very few of its nearly 600 clinics actually provide primary care. Of its 2.16 million customers, only 71,000, almost 72,000 in 2021 to 2022, just 3.3% get family practice services, primary care. PP talks about its caring physicians, yet unless a woman is getting an abortion, most never see a physician. Typically, she would see a clinician or a nurse. In most states, prescriptions for medication are written in the name of the local PP's medical director, who the woman rarely sees. PP does not like to talk about its abortion business. It runs the nation's largest abortion chain, has more abortion centers than all other abortionists combined, and commits over 374,000 abortions a year. PP says its services prevent unintended pregnancies. However, it does not tell a woman what that means. Most women readily believe that pregnancy begins when the sperm penetrates the egg and a new human being is created. PP, however, uses an obscure 1965 medical definition that defines pregnancy as beginning at implantation in the womb. Therefore, most of the products PP sells as contraceptives work, at least some of the time, by killing a new human being before implantation, rather than preventing her creation. PP brags about how reduces the spread of STDs. Scientists have known for years that the birth control pill and similar products actually increases the spread of STDs through the lowering of the women's immune system in changing cervical mucus. If PP was serious about reducing STDs, it would get its customers off the pill. What PP does not do. Supporters claim the organization does mammograms to detect breast cancer. They do not. In fact, no PP facility in the country is licensed to do mammograms. PP claims to screen for cervical cancer. The major risk factor for cervical cancer is HPV. Girls who start having sex
Your
at
time
young.
is up.
I'd like to share this
Your time is up,
with you
ma'am.
guys. Thank you.
Next is Ulysses M., followed by Mark Rakiki.
Hello, Council and Mayor. My name is Ulysses. I am the community organizer I'm here representing Planned Parenthood in San Bernardino County. And I'm here to urge you to allow the building and opening of the new Planned Parenthood Health Center here in Fontana. I want to highlight that this new health center will not only provide important health care to the Fontana and surrounding areas, but it would also be a critical center for accurate sex education that will drastically improve the sexual health outcomes of the county. Planned Parenthood is one of the nation's leaders in preventing, detecting, and treating STIs such as chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis, as my colleague mentioned earlier. These three STIs have the highest reported transmission rate here in San Bernardino County when compared to the rest of the country. Planned Parenthood is also the nation's leader in preventing unintended pregnancy through comprehensive sex education and abstinence and safe sex practices. All of these conditions of the STIs, if left untreated, can lead to more damaging illnesses that will be irreversible and negatively affect the quality of life of our community members. In 2022, California residents overwhelmingly supported Prop 1, which enshrined the right to access an abortion and contraceptives here in California in the California State Constitution. And over 60% of Fontana residents voted in favor of Prop 1. Those are the same voters who have entrusted you to make decisions for the betterment of this community. So once again, I urge you to let the Planned Parenthood Health Center open its doors and serve its community. Thank you.
Next is Mark Rikiki, followed by Rebecca P.
I think a lot of people might be, you're unaware, I don't know. Today, the Supreme Court looked at the abortion bills and how Planned Parenthood and other organizations tried to sort of fast track it with the Food and Drug Administration. But, you know, their time may be at hand because the Supreme Court has a different view on life. My name is Mark Rikiki, and I want to talk about a real woman who took the abortion pills after consulting with nurses at Planned Parenthood. The entire time I was there, I was told lies. They said there are no real risks. This is a period, light cramping. It'll all be over within 2 days. They assured me I didn't have to do anything I didn't want to. I asked a million questions. Planned Parenthood assured me I was going to be fine and it would all be over in 2 days. Of course, I had to read the packet they didn't go over with me. And inside it said I could bleed up to 3 weeks. 3 weeks? No one actually says that you bleed for weeks. No one. That would have been great to know beforehand. I would have never opted for this method if I knew that vital piece of information. I had asked multiple nurses and they assured me it would all be clear within a few days. They chalked it up to be so natural and easy, when this was in fact more painful and traumatizing than an in-clinic surgical abortion. Anyway, it hurts like crazy and I have been more nauseated and in pain in my life. I was a sweaty, bloody, crying mess. The cramping was pretty bad for me, but it was the fact of feeling the chunks fall out of you. I sat on the toilet and eventually put on a maxi pad and sat on the couch. It was about 3 to 4 hours of cramping until it came out. It came out. I truly believe Planned Parenthood tricks young girls into getting these types of abortions solely to keep them running. They don't make money off of birth control. This is how they make money. They assure you there's literally zero risk and that it's quick, private, and like a period, which is all a lie. I was completely misinformed and lied to. I feel very manipulated. Hear this again. I was completely misinformed and lied to. I feel very manipulated. Folks, this isn't good health care. That's not health care.
Next is Rebecca P., followed by Victoria Rollins.
I would first like to thank the Fontana City Council for your wisdom and ethics in standing up for the people of Fontana against Planned Parenthood. It is indeed the right of the city and its people to decide what businesses they will allow and not allow into its borders. A business that imposes itself so forcefully upon a city, as Planned Parenthood has, shows itself to be undemocratic and entitled. The advocates for Planned Parenthood claim to be pro-choice, and yet they hypocritically refuse to respect the free choice that you and the people of this city have made in choosing to be free of their genocide of the unborn, clothed in the sheepskin of women's health care. If Planned Parenthood truly offered health care for women apart from abortion, why, when abortion was restricted in other states, did Planned Parenthood close down in those states? Should they not have stayed in those states to provide real health care to the women they claim needed them so badly? They quickly moved out of those states because they cared more about the profit they would be losing from their big money maker abortion than the women who needed free health care in those states. So I urge you not to be drawn into any arguments stating that Planned Parenthood would provide needed health care for women in this city, because the evidence shows that they would not. In court, Planned Parenthood is citing 2023's Proposition 1, claiming that the proposition gives the unconditional right to abortion access. The actual text states, quote, The state shall not deny or interfere with an individual's reproductive freedom in their most intimate decisions, which includes their fundamental right to choose to have an abortion. You are not denying women the right to choose to have an abortion. You are simply exercising your right as a city to decide if the city needs an abortion facility in its borders. Abortion facilities, however unfortunate, are accessible nearby. Nothing in the text of Prop 1 claims the right to access. If it did, residents could sue every city that does not have a maternity ward or OBGYN within its borders, as that would deny access to care concerning reproductive freedom in the most intimate decisions. If you accept Planned Parenthood's line of argument, the city of Fontana, and by precedent, any city in California, will be required to pay for access to every kind of reproductive health that is requested, and that is not economically feasible for any city. So I encourage you to stay strong in the fight against Planned Parenthood. Do not be swayed or beaten down by their lies. Hold fast to the truth that you know in your heart through your reason and your faith. Do not give up hope. Seek the Lord and pray for perseverance, and it will be granted to you. Thank you.
Next is Victoria Rollins, followed by Maria.
Hi, my name is Victoria Rollins. I'm a lifelong resident of Fontana. Planned Parenthood they say that they want to give reproductive freedom to women, but they don't. They want women to come in so that they can take the children that are in the womb, that are growing, and sell the parts for money. Planned Parenthood was for Prop 1, which stated that a woman there would be no repercussions for a woman who murdered her child up to 1 month after she had birth to the child. Planned Parenthood cares more about the money than they do actually helping women. If a woman needs the morning after pill, she does not need Planned Parenthood. She can go straight to Kaiser. She does not need to have any medical insurance whatsoever. There will be no questions asked. They will give her the pills. No questions asked. There is no need for Planned Parenthood. Speaking as someone who values life, who loves children, the fact that Planned Parenthood wants to see more and more Black women put down, statistically speaking, if you see a pregnant woman in New York City, she is more likely going to Planned Parenthood to abort her child than she is going to give birth. I want to see more Black women and more Black boys raised in this city. I want to see more Hispanics raised in this city. I want to see more diversity in this city. Planned Parenthood will end diversity in this city. Thank you.
Next is Mary Kay with Life Choice. I'm sorry, can you state your name, ma'am?
Maria P. Oh, okay. And go ahead, P. Maria, go ahead.
I'm speaking in regards to the proposal of Planned Parenthood in this city. For all of you at this meeting who believe in God, you should also believe that the devil, Satan, is always in opposition to God, and anything that he promotes is meant to go against the will of God. Just last month, a satanic temple was fighting the state of Idaho for ritual abortion. According to the Attorney General's office, quote, the satanic temple claimed a constitutionally protected right for its female members to ceremonially abort their babies as part of a satanic ritual. This same clinic is pushing itself on many other states as well. For all who are Christians, that statement should not only bother you, but alarm you. Abortions are sacrifices to Satan, whether done ritualistically or not. And these sacrifices are what fuel all the other evil that is happening in this city, in this state, and this nation. In 2 days, on Holy Thursday, we will be commemorating the Last Supper when our Lord Jesus offered himself up in the bread saying, "This is my body," offering himself up to death as a selfless sacrifice on Good Friday for the forgiveness of our sins. In contrast, the words of the satanic abortion ritual mocks these holy words of Jesus, with the mother blasphemously saying, "This is my body," not as a selfless sacrifice, but as a selfish sacrifice of her own child in the womb. What else do we hear? Where else do we hear the words, "This is my body," or "This is my body, my choice"? Our children, we are sacrificing to Satan, our children, out of selfishness and convenience. How have we allowed this to happen in our nation for over 50 years? Satan is completely on board with abortion. Are you? Since 1973, many Christians have remained mostly silent on the abortion issue and have allowed this nation to get this far. It is now time for all true Christians to take a stand, a peaceful but strong stand, and take back this city, this state, and this nation, lest God completely abandon this city, this state, and this nation. Thank you, and a blessed Holy Week to all of you.
Next is Mary Kay with Life Choice, followed by Paul Padilla.
Greetings. I'd like to just make sure that we recognize the fact that there has been a need for taking care of women who are in their problem pregnancies for quite a while. I've been working with them for over 54 years, including in a home for pregnant moms. And I have seen the aftermath of trauma when women have gone to, quote, safe Planned Parenthood procedures, and even the death of a young gal who was 8 months pregnant and lost not only her baby but her life because of a problem with the uterus when she had had a former abortion. I really believe that right now there is a lot of misinformation going on in the schools, and that Planned Parenthood has tried to meet needs, but at the same time is being dishonest about it, that they are not recognizing and being honest about all of the services. If people wonder, they really should call a few Planned Parenthood places and find out whether or not the services that they consider to be really important medical care are even being offered there, such as the mammograms and so forth. And so please look for truth and realize that it's not relative. I myself am 83 years old, and I'm the product of a blind date ring. I have been safely able to have 4 children, lost one, and lost one plus those 4, and I have 10 grandchildren. And what does disturb me is that majority of my grandchildren, having been through public school, believe that abortion is just fine, not the taking of a life, and that person does not begin until a child is born. And I believe that we need to be very honest about these things and help them to have good critical thinking so that they are able to look at what life really is and be able to know why it's important to stand up for it. I have been able in my life to be able to be there, not just for births of babies, but also helping mothers after losing them and having lost one myself. And I know that the importance of being able to care truly and over a long period of time is important. I'm going to give my life for life, and I hope and pray that a few more people will be very discerning about what is offered as medical care. Thank you, and God bless you.
Next is Paul Padilla, followed by Margot Elduson.
Hello, Madam Mayor and council members. My name is Paul Padilla, and I was a 5-year resident of Fontana. I recently moved up to the high desert, and I miss Fontana a lot. I still work in and around Fontana. So I felt that I needed to come and talk to you. I want to encourage you to keep the moratorium against Planned Parenthood. Fontana doesn't need an abortion clinic. There are other abortion clinics around the city. We don't need to bring that into this fine city. And I would also remind you that abortion is domestic violence. It's the mother being violent against their child. So, let's be against domestic violence, and please don't allow this Planned Parenthood to be built in this fine city. Thank you very much.
Next is Margot Aljusen, and then Mayor, we will have one more speaker for the first round of speakers, and that'll be Roberto Aguirre.
Again, good afternoon, my name is Margot Aldusin, and I'm here to share some testimonies from people and the truth about Planned Parenthood, the real truth about Planned Parenthood. And here I'm gonna share some testimonies of two people. For Maya, the Planned Parenthood clinic, I had my abortion and told me my fetus was 7 to 8 weeks, and being only 15 years old, I didn't know what that meant. Afterward, they told me that I was actually 10 to 12 weeks. I got very sick, and I was vomiting directly after the procedure. The room was spinning, and I could barely stand. They pushed me out of the door with a plastic bag for my trip home. I had severe pain and hemorrhaging afterward, but was too embarrassed to go for help. I suffered with very serious depression and emotional issues for 20 years after. That was the testimony of Maya. And for Cindy, I was 15 years old when my mother and I returned to Planned Parenthood. After the contraceptive they provide months earlier failed, I was told I was 11 weeks pregnant and that my pregnancy was a clump of cells. I was told to hurry to make an appointment if I wanted an abortion, because at 12 weeks, the price will be higher. The price will be higher. All they care is about the money. I was not given any counseling of any kind whatsoever. Today, I deeply regret my abortion. We're not here to fight. We're not here to make people angry or anything. We're just here to tell these people from Planned Parenthood to don't mess up more lives, especially young girls, that they have so many doubts. They might be pregnant, I don't know for what reason, maybe they by accident or they got raped. Yeah, there's already some hurt in their hearts. There's already pain. Don't make the pain go longer for their lives, because after, when we get older, we think things better, and they usually regret for the abortions. I know many friends, many people that they have had abortions and they're miserable for many, many years. Let's not do that for them.
Your time is up.
God bless you. God bless you.
And next is Robert Aguirre.
Good afternoon. My name is Roberto Aguirre. I'm resident from 2003 in Fontana. I have two issues. First of all, I see you guys doing improvement on Juruca and Cherry, and sidewalks and curbs, and illegal on Slover between Cherry and Lightvok. I don't see the plans and the projects you guys gonna improve the sidewalks. I'd like to know you guys planning to do that, because on exit on Cherry and Slover is the main street for big trucks, big companies, big warehouse, around there, I'd like to know you guys want to do a street. The first question. Second one, I want to say thank you, the mayor. Couple of years ago, they helped us to pave the Hemlock in the Slover. And I hope this time help us as well. I have the business on Hemlock, and before was open street on Hemlock to Grupa. Since 2016, they closed it, and our business decreased very drastically. We'd like to know, because right now you guys doing a sidewalk in the middle, you guys can reopen the street. That will help us to our business. And the first issue. The second issue, I am president of Global Diplomatic Human Rights Relief, a non-profit organization that pro-life, pro-human beings. And we'd like to know, you guys, the city of Fontana has programs to help our people. Because non-profit, we help the kids, elder people, homeless, and low-income families. And many times I call to the city to ask if you guys have any resources or programs. They don't give answers. I've been sending letters for 4 years to have a meeting, to have programs for the kids, as well for the kids, and we never have a response. We'd like to know now if you guys can respond, because we want to work for the people. We are here to work for the people. And thank you very much.
Mayor, that concludes the 15 speakers that we're going to hear. The remaining speakers will be heard after completion of the consent calendar.
Actually, they're gonna be heard after public hearings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Those of you that put in cards after we finish the agenda relative to consent calendar and public hearing, then we will bring up people for public comment. At this time, that brings us to the consent calendar. The only item that I have that I've requested to be pulled out is item G, and that's the business loan program. I'd like to hear a little bit about that before we vote on the consent calendar.
Conisha Penner will provide the staff.
All right, thanks. Where you started with me.
Thank you, and to Mayor and members of the council, I am excited today to have you review the revolving loan fund consent calendar item. I do believe for economic development, this will be actually for the city, this will be a great pivotal point for us. With the approval, this initiative allows Fontana businesses to leverage a low interest loan that will help businesses both in expansion, business improvements, and overall operations. The Economic Development Department is looking to accelerate business growth here within Fontana, and the revolving loan fund program criteria would include years in business would be at least 2 or more. There will need to be a Fontana-based business or looking to come to Fontana from another city. So we are looking at shifting share from other cities into our region. They need to also have less than 25 employees. And then we also are assisting them with business assistance, sending them through training programs for financial assistance, for business growth, business plan writing, all of that. The loan amounts will be up to $50,000, and with questions, I can give additional information on that. Compared to traditional high-interest business capital that most businesses will go after, like credit cards, that interest rates will go up to 22 to 29%, or small business loans that will be at 8.5% with additional fees attached to that. Our loan will actually be at 6.5%. That will allow businesses to leverage. The additional context of Impact Business Capital is actually here with us today. We're excited to work with this group. We did a competitive search of local CDFIs within our region. And unfortunately, not anyone could match what Impact Business Capital has done. They have worked with San Bernardino County. They have also worked with Riverside County and other municipalities when it comes to similar programs. Once codified today, I'm hoping you all will codify. Once codified today, this program will allow us to also go out for additional fundings to grow the $500,000 that we have set aside for businesses. Any questions?
Thank you for that report. We're excited that this has come to our city. We're looking forward to working with this organization and getting more people the funding they need to grow their businesses. Are there any more comments?
Mayor, thank you very much. I wanted to see all of you today. This has been a very exciting journey these last several months, almost a year and some change there, since we had these initial conversations. Some of the hardest things as a small business owner such as myself is once you do start, how do you get out of the mom and pop phase? How do you make that jump to hire your first employee? How do you make the jump to a larger space without risking everything under your business side of things? And I'm looking forward to this program because it's not only just the financing of additional funds that are available to small businesses and to medium-sized businesses, but it's also the mentorship program that's going to come along with it. It's the financial literacy, it's the workers' comp side of things, it's understanding really what's going to happen as you start to grow and get bigger in business and start serving a larger size of residents here in the city of Fontana that I'm most excited for. And 6%, 6.5% interest rate on a $50,000 loan. Oh, absolutely. I'll take that in order to get my mom and pop restaurant off the board, be able to get a new grill, be able to get that larger space, make those tenant improvements that maybe a little too risky to use your own funds on, just because you're essentially paying yourself every single day on your livable wage. So to my colleagues from a business owner on the dais here, I hope I can count on your guys' support to make this reality and to push other businesses to thrive in the city of Fontana. So thank you guys so much for your hard work in the last couple of years.
Okay, thank you for this presentation. There's no more other questions and time to leverage with our banks and our other supportive services at the federal level possibly, and Fontana is definitely open for business. Thank you. Are there, at this time, I don't have any other items that were requested to be moved or removed, so if I could have a motion to approve our consent calendar.
Madam Mayor, before we do that, I'm going to be recusing myself from item E as in Edward, as I own real estate property within the vicinity of the project.
Okay, you can stay on the dais. We just need to note that in our minutes. Thank you. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Please cast, oh.
I don't think that was the first motion. No.
Oh, you want to make the motion then?
I'll make the motion.
Very good, okay. We have a motion and a second. Let's cast our votes.
Five in favor, the motion is passed.
The motion is passed. That brings us to public hearing item A, which is a hearing for quarterly lien action for delinquent sewer, rubbish, and weed abatement accounts. This public hearing is now open. City Clerk Key, did you receive any written communication on this item? Okay.
I'm sorry, not on this one, Mayor. My mic wasn't on.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to our Revenue Operation Manager, Lisa Cohen, to provide us our staff report.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. My name is Lisa Conlon, and I'm the city's Revenue Operations Manager. Before you this afternoon is the quarterly lien action for delinquent sewer, rubbish, and weed abatement accounts. The lien process protects revenues due to the city, which otherwise would have been subject to loss due to skipped accounts and property transfers. Paying customers benefit from this process as it minimizes the need to write off uncollectible accounts and contributes to the stability of rates charged by the city for services provided. Each of the delinquent accounts have been notified of their outstanding balance and the intent to record the lien. Liens will only be recorded on accounts that still remain delinquent at this time. In addition, any liens which remain unpaid as of June 30th will be placed on the property tax roll for collections. Staff is available should you have any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff? Okay, I'm going to close this public hearing, but before I do, do you have any requests to speak on this item?
We do not, Mayor.
All right, the public hearing is now closed. May I have a motion to approve staff's recommendation?
Councilman Sal will make the motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
All in favor, motion passes.
Motion passed. That brings us to public hearing. Item B is the public hearing and adoption of HUD Community Development Block Grant, Home Investment Partnerships Program, and Emergency Solutions Grant 2024 Annual Action Plan. The public hearing is now open. City Clerk Key, did you receive any written correspondence on this item?
None for this item, Mayor.
Okay, we have our project specialist, Mary Aguilar, who will provide our staff reports.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Mary Aguilar, and I'm the project specialist for the Housing Department. As a federal entitlement city with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, the City of Fontana annually receives
Hey,
community...
Mary, can you get in the mic so we can hear you close?
The City of Fontana annually receives Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, Home Investment Partnership, HOME, and Emergency Solutions Grant, ESG funds. In order to continue receiving these funds, the city is required to prepare and submit an annual one-year action plan. The one-year action plan calls out how we intend to utilize the city's allocations of CDBG totaling $1.9 million, home funds totaling $740,000, and $175,000 ESG funds that we are estimating for the fiscal year 24-25. At this time, we have not received formal notification of our allocations. Once they are received, we will adjust the budget accordingly. The fiscal year 24-25 draft one-year action plan includes the following projects and programs: Program Administration, Fair Housing Services, the Public Safety Program, Youth and Senior Scholarships, and the Acquisition, Rehabilitation, and Rental Program. In accordance with our Citizen Participation Plan, these documents have been made available to the public for a 30-day period, and we have advertised today's public hearing in the San Bernardino Sun, El Chicano, and the Press Enterprise. Both English and Spanish notices were published. The city has received no written comments. What is before you this afternoon is the adoption of the required one-year action plan, which will fulfill HUD's requirements and ensure that the city can continue to receive the allocated funds. Today's actions involve only the annual federal entitlement funds and not any special allocations. This concludes the staff report unless there are any questions.
Thank you for that presentation. Are there any questions of staff? Okay, City Clerk Key, do you have any requests to speak?
None for this item, Mayor.
All right, I'm going to close this public hearing and request a motion to approve staff's recommendation.
Coughlin, I'll make the motion for approval.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Please cast your vote.
All in favor, the motion passes.
Motion passes. That brings us to public hearing item C. Is a proposal for mandating electronic filing of campaign finance disclosure statements and statements of economic interest and implementation of a campaign sign deposit. This public hearing is now open. City Clerk Key, did you receive any written correspondence on this item?
Mayor, we received over 226 written correspondences that have been distributed.
Okay. At this time, we'll ask our Deputy City Manager, Ray Ebert, to provide the staff report.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name is Ray Ebert, Deputy City Manager for Administrative Services. This item is there's a number of actions going on in this item, but the primary one that requires the public hearing is one that I'll speak about last, and that is the deposit for sign removal for elections. So, as a part of our ongoing municipal code review, we decided to review Chapter 7, which is the chapter that primarily deals with elections, because we have an election coming up this year. And we noticed a number of things that needed to be updated, most of which was just grammar updates, but there's a few items that we decided to add to the municipal code because of either state requirements or situations that we've been dealing with after each election. So the first is the requirement of electronic filing for economic and financial disclosure statements for electeds as well as staff. The state of California has mandated submission of FPPC documents, primarily economic statements, to be filed with the state electronically. This has been in place since 2021. The city of Fontana has been submitting those documents electronically, but when they're submitted to the city as a handwritten document, we have to scan those and then we upload them to the FPPC website manually, taking up staff time, as well as we have to post those to our own website as a part of the reporting element of the AB 2151, which mandated the electronic filing. We have a system that we use today called NetFile. All staff generally upload or enter their FPPC economic disclosure documents through this system, as does the elected yourselves. We have up until this point allowed handwritten documents to be submitted and then scanned as PDFs, and then we upload them electronically. This has become tedious for staff, and there's very, very few people at this point that are actually submitting paper documents. So we're asking to mandate the requirement of submitting these documents electronically through the NetFile system, and we can provide staff or council with any help that they would need if they were challenged by the system. So far, we haven't seen that. The other major change was we have noticed over the last several elections that post-election, a lot of the signs that get posted around the city by various candidates often don't get picked up in a timely manner, and it doesn't look great as these signs are hanging off the fences, or when the wind grabs these signs and kind of blows them around the city. So we're asking to institute a $1,000 deposit for to pay for any sign removal that's needed for any candidate who doesn't remove their own signs. The intent is to motivate candidates to remove their own signs, and if they do, then they'll receive the deposit back. If any staff time is required to remove some of their signs, we'll refund any unused part of that deposit back to the candidates. Those are the primary changes to this Chapter 7, and if that concludes my report. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those same questions.
Mayor, if I may, can we also clarify the number of comments that we received?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Mayor, thank you. To correct the information I previously gave, the 226 was relative to Planned Parenthood. You received one written communication for this item.
Okay, thank you. All right. I have no further note too. Are there any questions of staff relative to this ordinance?
I have a couple questions. So, how'd you come up with a number of $1,000? And does $1,000, how are you gonna charge for each sign, or are you gonna charge for, how's it gonna be charged towards this $1,000?
So initially, we canvassed all the cities in the region and tried to get a consensus of what they we're not the only city instituting this type of fee. So we canvassed all the other cities that are leveraging a fee or a deposit, I'm sorry, and we tried to find an average of that. We also went into, we tried to do some analysis of how much staff time and what type of staff it would require to remove a number of signs, and so we came up with, say, if our staff, Public Works, for example, has to go out and remove, say, 10 signs, how much time would that take? So we came up with a number, effectively a burn rate per sign. And so our intention is, if we have to remove 6 signs for a candidate, we have a burn rate, and I don't have the number off the top of my head, but I can get it to you, where, okay, for those 6 signs, it costs this much of this amount of staff time through hard costs through salaries. And so that would be deducted from the $1,000 deposit, and then the remainder would be refunded back to the candidate.
Yeah, that amount, it equates to 2 Public Works employees for 8 hours each, so a total of 16 hours.
But what's the charge? You're taking $1,000.
It's their time.
Okay, but what's their time?
So if they took a half hour, it'd be a half hour of their time. And
yeah, but what's the hourly rate?
We can get you that response.
Yeah, see, that's the issue. What's the hourly rate?
Sure.
I mean, there's no hourly rate. There's no saying it takes Public Works an hour, half hour to take it down. This is what's going to be the rate, and this is what's going to come from $1,000 or nothing like that. So
we'll get you that number.
It's $62.50 approximately.
So the other thing is it
per hour.
When you say local, what do you mean? You mean local school boards, local water districts? You mean just the city council?
I didn't say local, sir. Signs posted in Fontana.
Okay. If any candidate running?
we don't have the capacity to require a deposit from candidates that we don't process their application. So we will only be able to request this deposit for applicants that we process.
Okay, so just basically whoever's running for city positions, this is the only person. So the rest aren't going to be fined, they ain't going to be, how's that going to work? I mean, we have school board, water board.
We would attempt to receive that deposit, but the only leverage essentially that we have is when we have candidates actually file with us.
Okay, but I mean, how are we gonna, to me, you're just targeting one, particular candidate.
Well, the spirit is not to necessarily target. I think the spirit is obviously sign clutter. And I also want to be clear, our municipal code states that you can't post any signs 90 days. You can only post signs 90 days prior to the election date, and then you have to remove them within 10 days thereafter. So really, I mean, it's our hope that we're not going to charge anybody anything and that everybody follows the municipal code. That's the ultimate spirit of this. But certainly, as far as leverage, to your point, yeah, for local candidates that go through the process through the city, certainly as part of their application process, they would need to submit that deposit. Those that are posting signs outside, of our process would, we would certainly request, and then we would send them letters or correspondence and request them that they make the same deposit. It becomes much more challenging though, as you're pointing out, because we're not processing for those that are outside our community, we're not processing their application to be a candidate.
But the issue I have, how are you gonna collect on other candidates that are not part of our posting?
We're gonna attempt to try to collect.
That's my issue is, you're just targeting just one set of candidates because they file with the city, but everybody else is gonna be delivered to put signs where they want, and we're gonna make the attempt. I mean, and I do see where you're talking about. There's some candidates that put signs and leave them up for a year, leave them up for 2 years now, and I see the cluttering, but my feeling is if we're gonna do this, when we do it to all candidates, we need to implement a plan where we do have, like I said, 90 days, but I know in the past elections, there's been where in 15 days or 10 days after the election, that we have sent notices to candidates and saying, and I'll use a roughly amount, $15 a sign. So we have 10-year signs, so we send you a bill saying you owe us $150 for the 10 signs that way, but I just can't see.
And that's our intention, sir.
I can't see a candidate that's running for a city office to come up and put, before they can close their thing to run, they have to put up $1,000. So they're $1,000. I just can't. I can't see it.
And the hope is that each candidate would pick up their own signs and then they would get their $1,000.
Well, be responsible, pick up their sign rights. Okay, thank you.
Mr. City Manager, when code enforcement gets called and there are signs everywhere for a candidate that's not part of the city's election, like a state assembly member or a water board, code can take action and provide that letter to that candidate. And then code can go through our city prosecutor and get recovery for our expense of having to take down all these signs.
Certainly, but we also want to be cost sensitive because we don't want to spend more just to bring in. We want compliance at the end of the day, but certainly we can take that action.
But that's an action that can occur for anyone outside of running for city council or city clerk or treasurer.
Correct, and to go a step further, I also want to make it clear that when folks are posting signs, they need to be on private property, not within the public right of way. That's probably one of the key issues that we're seeing out there is people presume that just because it's behind the sidewalk, it's on private property, but we want to make sure that people aren't posting. Our code prohibits posting such signs within the public right of way.
And then in addition to that, people need to have gotten permission at those private properties, because we have people calling us, going off on us about, you letting so-and-so put their sign on my property and I didn't tell them they could do that. No, sir, no, ma'am, we did not authorize that.
That's correct.
And Madam Mayor, if I may just add to that, It does have to be with the permission of the property owner and in compliance with the city's sign regulations writ large, right? So there are many, many different regulations that are written into municipal code that govern appropriate sign specifications. Those would also apply as reflected in the code already. So as the city manager suggested, we're looking for compliance with all of the city's regulations related to signs.
Because I really don't think people appreciate how many complaints our staff get during election time. And afterwards, if you drive up and down Baseline, Foothill, and Valley right now, there are still some signs out that code needs to go out and give those people a little jiggle about, hey, come get your signs. So, are there any more questions or comments? Okay. City Clerk Key, do you have any requests to speak on this item?
We do, Mayor. We have 3 requests.
Okay. Call everybody up.
First speaker is Bobby Joe Chavarria, followed by Jennifer Cardenas.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Bobby Jo Chavarria. I have been a candidate in this city before. I will say that a $1,000 deposit preemptively does put a discriminatory and unfair burden on small candidates. Why don't we just call this policy what it is? If you're not supported by ACQUANETTA Warren, then you should not be running for any position in this city. She gets funded the majority of the council members here and on the school board. She personally could pay those $1,000 deposits and probably will for any candidate that she supports. But it will cut out regular community members from running, from participating. One other thing that Ms. Warren neglects to say is her business allies provide her and her candidates permission to blast this city so that the signs, the political signs during the election time is ridiculous. It's bordering on absurd. The amount of signs that we see from, again, the selected supported candidates of the status quo with permission from business owners down Sierra, down Foothill, down Baseline. And so this is just yet another attempt to silence anyone who does not fit into the coattails, literally, of this mayor and her supporters. It is an unfair request for sign removal. Staff has said themselves that, and I'm familiar with the letters that candidates can receive after an election. We have this many signs, you can come pick them up, or we will dispose of them. This is how much it costs us to take care of this. None of those letters that I've ever seen or heard of merited $1,000, let alone upfront, tying up small grassroots dollars for an election. There is a lack of transparency, as Councilmember Sandoval pointed out. We don't know. Perhaps Councilmember Garcia, Councilmember Cochran, Councilmember Roberts will get charged nothing, just a polite warning, but other candidates will absolutely be charged the maximum. We don't know and have no guarantee that that cannot and will not happen. I oppose this. It's ridiculous.
Next is Jennifer Cardenas.
Good afternoon, City Council. My name is Jennifer Cardenas. I do want to say that I'm lucky to have a job that lets me be here at this time. It's unfortunate that a lot of our members aren't able to do that. But I do want to talk about this. I think, well, let me introduce myself. I actually ran for JP College Governing Board. I am a Fontana resident who went to JP College, graduated from Telem University, and came back to serve my city. I didn't win the election, but I learned a lot. And one of the things that I learned is what these policies kind of mean when we're talking about people like me who aspire to make a difference in their community, but are not funded in ways that other politicians are funded. I think having $1,000 right up front makes it very difficult for grassroots, like myself, candidates, to be able to start the wheels on trying to figure out how to run for office. I think there could be a few revisions on this. I understand that once you run and you get it mailed to you, it tells you how much you are charged. I think Fontana can do something similar to that, where why don't we inform the candidates that you want to implement something, because there is a lot of, I guess, signs being left out, and instead let them know that by the end of their at the end of their campaign, there will be a charge. And then you'll have the proof because you'll have all the signs available. The way that it's written, it doesn't really make it clear that it's only for candidates that are running within the city of Fontana. Second, it doesn't really make it clear for our candidates in different districts that also represent Fontana to have like clarity on this, and how is that gonna also impact their campaign even if they do have money. I think it feels very, it's discriminatory in a sense, because it makes it really difficult to really understand where you're coming from when we have clarity from our secretary to tell us how to run for office. You can make other decisions by creating more awareness about what these signs mean. As a first-time candidate, trust me, it was really hard just looking at your Fontana page to figure out what are the rules in comparison to what the voter registrar tells me. I think if you want to make a policy like this, it needs to be clear for community members like myself who want to run and understand how this works. Can I just pull out $1,000? No, I can't. So does that mean that other people who want to serve their community feel like they might not be able to run because of this? Probably. I think with the knowledge that you all have, you can do better. One, make this something an after the fact, not a before the fact, which prevents people from even being enthusiastic about running for office. And thank you for your time.
That concludes our speakers, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Number one, we need to be very clear. JP College is not an election that the city holds. That is with the register of voters at the county level. So you wouldn't even look on our website to find out for JP College. Secondly, I'm talking right now, please do not interrupt. Secondly, we have had a long history in this city of arguing with candidates about the rules, especially when it comes to signs, and citizens are really fed up with that issue. We have a book when you run for municipal office that has every item listed in that book, explaining exactly what is required to run for office in the city of Fontana. And the city clerk has individual meetings with each candidate that shows up to get their book, to explain to them how to get their signatures if needed, how they do their signs, where their signs can go, how they can do their mail, and the reports that need to be filed depending on your funding or your actions for every issue. One of the things that I was thinking here while we were listening to this is we're not trying to keep people from not funding. We're being extremely transparent. That's why we have this public hearing, to get that input. What would it look like, Deputy City Manager, if we were to have a clause where if you're going to sign up to run for office, you would automatically be encumbered up to $1,000 if you don't remove your signs. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So as far as the issue as it relates to if somebody couldn't afford to do it, and certainly we can put in a program, just like with HUD, to qualify for HUD funding. You can provide documentation that you are under a certain income, then we can forego having to collect the deposit. It escape the responsibility of following the municipal code as it relates to signage. But we could forego the deposit if they meet certain income requirements.
Would it be income requirements or, sometimes you're required to say you're not gonna spend more than 500 on your campaign, something along those lines. Just something to think about.
Madam Mayor, if I may, so are you talking about campaign contribution, not contribution limitations, but campaign expenditure limitations?
Right.
So in exchange for a waiver of the $1,000 fee, then you won't spend, I mean, certainly, that is something that the city manager and I and his staff could look into. What I think the council is discussing here is a hardship exemption to the deposit requirement, right?
Right.
And there are certainly objective, neutral ways to put together a program for the council's consideration, if that is your policy direction here today. We do have enough time because election season hasn't yet started. So I'm happy to work with the city manager, the deputy city manager, to fulfill the council's desire from a policy perspective, if that's what you tell me today.
Yeah, I think, when I think about this, I think that I'd like to see and explore the possibilities. It's unfortunate that we wave these flags, you're after us, you're gonna fund this, you're gonna do that, you got supporters. That's all about the process of the democracy. People have the right to support who they want to, and they can show their support just as they do for others. But at the same time, I want us to make sure that we're looking at all our options. So I would ask my colleagues if we could put this on hold and allow the city manager and the deputy city manager and our city attorney to explore that possibility and come back to us, because we do still have time.
Yes, but if I may, we can certainly come back. I'd ask that we continue C2, but if council could take action on C1 as it relates to the electronic filing, that's staff's recommendation.
Absolutely. I think we need to move forward on that.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll do.
Now, I want to hear, is everybody okay with that?
No, Madam Mayor, if I remember correctly, I believe the county of San Bernardino already has an ordinance in place as far as their sign program goes that states that if you are just not going to be putting up signs, that you're just going to sign a waiver that says you're not going to be doing signs and there's no reason for a fee. So if you're not.
That's what I'm really saying. There are other options that we can put in.
Happy to look
So
into that.
I mean, I don't want to have any barriers to anyone that wants to run for office. If they can't raise $1,000, I mean, if they raise $1,000 after they file and they want to put out signs, cool, come back and say, hey, I'm just going to amend this and I'm going to put out signs with the city clerk and just do it that way.
That's a great option too.
So.
Look into that.
Okay, so I think I have, kind of a way for us to move forward on C1, but C2 is gonna have to come back to us. So I'll make that motion that we approve C1 for the electronic reporting, move us into the age of digital, and that we put on continuation, or we don't have to even continue, just wait for staff to get back to us. Okay, that is my motion. Can I have a second?
Second. Madam Mayor, as part of your motion, could I trouble you to read the title of C1 and conform to state law?
Absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely. Let's see. Trying to get it to come up here. Can you read it for me, because this is not gonna work.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ordinance number 1942, amending Chapter 7, Article 3 of the Fontana Municipal Code regarding mandating electronic and paperless filing of campaign finance disclosure statements and statements of economic interest.
Thank you. Have a motion, a second, please cast your vote.
Four in favor, one nay, by Councilman Sandoval. Motion passes.
Motion passed with one nay. Thank you. That brings us, before we go into our public hearing, before we go into our comments, how many cards do you have?
We have 11 remaining cards, Mayor.
11 remaining cards? Okay, start calling people up. Any other? So you have 11 cards now. If we get more cards, then I'm gonna probably have to look at putting the time down, okay? Thanks.
Okay, our first speaker is Raphael with WSRCC, followed by, the email states eCampos with WSRCC.
Those two guys. I'm on there, I'm probably deep.
Next is Werlinda Carrillo, followed by Eugenio Torres.
Hi, good afternoon, Mayor, City Council people, and Police Department. I wish you guys peace, and the thing is, for parent parenthood, they almost had us with to help the blinders here. They're trying to paint a picture that's not even cute, okay? We have our future descendants to worry about. My children, my future descendants, and yours mean something, don't they? We don't want it here in our city. And the thing is, we're not telling you not to have an abortion or to do things with your life. What we're saying is we don't want it in our city. We're trying to save the souls here and our future children here. I've been here since '83, and a lot has come and gone from here. And the thing is, Mayor and City Council people, we want to build something that's beautiful and strong here. We're not trying to bring like Sodom and Gomorrah here. We're trying not to bring destruction here. Use your guys' power or influential to do the right thing, not the wrong thing. And that's all I have to say, but I just wish you guys the best. And I wish you guys peace, and please do not bring that here. And that would be sweet. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Next is Eugenio Torres, followed by Robert Garcia.
Good afternoon, city members, Mayor ACQUANETTA. My name is Eugenio Torres. I've been a resident of this fine city for the last 37 years, almost going to 38 years. And I moved over here because of my family. And I was hearing that this is a growing city. We need business to grow in the city. I'm not against business. I am against what type of business we bring into our city. Planned Parenthood, on the year 2021, from their own website, this was the year the worst happened. We knew it was coming. We were prepared. We had to be. Losing the constitutional right to abortion was still heartbreaking for patients, for providers, for the communities we serve. Well, we faced challenges before, and we never give up. We won't start now. We are relentless. We will go through. We will be here. In essence, this is from their own website. Like I said, I don't know if you know how a business is to make money. They don't come over here out of the goodness of their heart to do free will items. How much are they making this year? Do you know? Before anything, how much did how much they make in the year 2021, which is the last one I was able to research? $400 million, out of which 680 million was requested to our government through grants, through payment, through Medicare. They're not doing it for free. It's a business, they're not doing it for free. Since 1993, Planned Parenthood, the nation's largest abortion business, has reported carrying out 7,442,666 million abortions, all while receiving over 10.35 billion, not million, billion in total taxpayer funding. Planned Parenthood largest resource of tax-paying funding are Medicaid and Title X.
Your time is up.
Okay, so.
Your
that-
time is up.
I'm sorry, and that's the reason why.
Your
I
time
am
is up,
against it.
sir.
Okay, I am sorry.
Next is Robert Garcia, followed by Catherine Contreras.
Good afternoon, thank you, Mayor, and members of the City Council. My name is Robert Garcia. I am a parent, an educator, and a governing board member of the Etiquette School District here in Fontana. I am here today to strongly urge you to remove the building moratorium and allow construction of a Planned Parenthood Health Center in the city of Fontana. By declining a Planned Parenthood Health Center, you are declining 30.5% of the city's population from life-saving cervical cancer screenings, Pap tests, STI testing, and all forms of birth control. 30.5% of Fontana's population will not have access to the over 36,000 medical visits that Planned Parenthood Health Centers would be projected to provide solely to this city. 30.5% of residents will continue to not have access to vital, affordable health care. That is more than 63,000 residents. By allowing Planned Parenthood to serve Fontana residents, residents of all economic backgrounds will have access to medical appointments 7 days a week. A Fontana Planned Parenthood would serve residents throughout the city, just like they've had over 260,000 medical visits throughout Orange and San Bernardino counties and spent over $3 million to care for those respective communities. The choice is clear, council members. The data is simple and the need is clear. We need to ensure that healthcare is a priority and a possibility for all residents of Fontana. We need to ensure accessibility to life-saving treatments and care. We need to remove the building moratorium and allow construction of a Planned Parenthood Health Center that is urgently needed here in the city of Fontana. Thank you so much for your time.
Next is Catherine Contreras, followed by Bree Weiberg. Next is Bree Weiberg. Okay, next is Western State Carpenters.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. My name is Delshawn McClellan, and I'm a member of the Western States.
Wait a minute, excuse me. Do you, first of all, gentlemen, can you move a little bit so I can see who's talking? Thank you. All right, Miss, please do not interrupt the speaker. And I would ask all of you to please sit down so we can see this gentleman while he speaks. Thank you. All right.
Okay. I forgot where I left off. Oh.
Hey.
Again, I'm with the Western States Carpenters, and here to give you guys a little message. It is estimated that construction tax fraud is responsible for cheating communities out of billions of dollars in tax revenue. That's billions of dollars lost tax revenue that the city can't get back. It could be used for building, renovating schools, repairing roads, caring for veterans, sheltering the unhoused, and funding other essential public programs. The prevalence of construction industry tax fraud has reached crisis levels and must be stopped. This April 13th through the 19th, the Western States Carpenters, Local 909, the City of Ontario, and the United Brotherhood of Carpenters are taking part of the National Tax Fraud Day of Action, a week-long series of events to raise awareness about construction industry tax fraud. The Day of Tax Fraud Days of Action grew out of widespread outrage about construction industry tax fraud, a range of practices where employers evade their tax responsibility in several ways. Often they intentionally misclassify workers as independent contractors and pay the workers cash. As a result, these businesses significantly reduce their income tax and payroll tax responsibilities and defraud communities out of much needed tax revenue. As communities are continually facing budget shortfalls, it's more important than ever to crack down on these bad actors who are stealing from the residents of Fontana. Thank you.
Next is Bobby Joe Chavarria, followed by Jennifer Cardenas.
I'd ask for the screen to be corrected. I thought the public hearing was closed. You're just now doing public comments. Is that correct?
That is correct. It says public communication, so I'm not sure what
But it says agenda
There's
item.
no, the record will reflect that you're speaking on general public comments. They won't be attributed to the
But the
agenda.
folks at home don't know that,
Okay, well, they know now because of our interaction. Thank you.
except for those who are hard of hearing because there is no,
There it is. There it is, Ms.
closed
Chavarria. Please.
caption. No, there isn't. Good afternoon, my name is Bobby Joe Chavarria. I do stand in support and solidarity with our carpenters. Construction fraud is a huge problem, I'm sure some of you probably personally know. One of the things that folks have commented here today was just how much God wants us to not abort fetuses. That is great that folks believe that way, that they can exercise their own personal choice to not have an abortion, to not seek contraceptive care or reproductive health care. But that's for church. That is not for a city council chamber. It is great that they affirmed the moratorium was a specific target to prevent the health center from being built, from being licensed, for getting a certificate of occupancy. It is great that they confirmed that, as I'm sure the lawsuit against the city will also confirm that you all have no right to prevent reproductive health care from being accessible to our community members, nor do you have a right to circumvent the voters and the people of the state of California who have affirmed the constitutional accessibility to reproductive health care as we see fit. I also think it's hilarious for someone to talk about bleeding after a supposed medical abortion, but also, which is also possible during a miscarriage. That was spoken from someone who obviously has never menstruated. You can absolutely have 3 weeks of bleeding, 4 weeks of bleeding, 6 weeks of bleeding after you give birth to a child. As any woman with a uterus and who's ever been pregnant understands and knows. Again, any man without a uterus, without a reproductive system that can birth a child, can absolutely have an opinion about what kind of medical care is suitable for himself. But when they try to impose that, especially because of their religious beliefs on other people, that is not what this country is about. That is not what democracy is about. And contrary to the sign on the wall, that should not be what this city council is about. It is only through government that all people have a voice and an equal right to pursue life as they see fit, as long as they do not hurt other people who are like actually existing. So, do the right thing. Stop wasting our taxpayer money on lawsuits where you all just have an ideological stance that prohibits the people of Fontana from having access.
Our next speaker is Jennifer Cardenas, followed by our final speaker. The name is illegible, but they listed an address of Miller and Tamarind Avenue.
again, my name is Jennifer Cardenas. And for clarity, Mayor, I did want to say, I do understand that the Trinity College Governing Board is not a Fontana part of the candidacy. It was just an example. I just want to clear that up. I didn't know the difference. It was me more advocating in general. And talking about my campaign, I did learn a lot, and I'm here because I want to support Planned Parenthood. I had the opportunity to talk to a lot of young adults who were going to JV College. And one thing that JV College in Fontana does not have is actually a health center. So I think it's very important to understand that Planned Parenthood actually helps our community because we have a lot of students that are going to these spaces that don't actually have access to healthcare. And I think to understand how we want to ensure that our community has access is allowing Planned Parenthood to be here. We heard a lot of data today, a lot of data that's letting us know that a lot of Fontana residents actually don't have insurance. Planned Parenthood can be an access to that. I actually heard a lot of young adults when I was on campus telling me the same thing. They're echoing the same thing that we are here advocating for today. Access to pap smears, access to prenatal care. The idea that there is a moratorium preventative care is a little bit ridiculous. And the reality is that how can we start advocating for young adults and even community members in general in Fontana because somehow Planned Parenthood is a threat when they're here ensuring our health care? When all of y'all keep voting for buildings that pollute us and impact us in ways that I'm grateful to have insurance. Otherwise, where would I be if I didn't have that? I want my community who doesn't have access to the same access I have to have Planned Parenthood at their corner. Because the reality is that people like them need someone to back them up, need someone like Planned Parenthood to be here, to be someone that they don't have to wait 4 or 5 hours and then just be turned away by Kaiser. Unfortunately, that's a lot of realities for some of our members. I think it's essential for y'all to understand that the people who are growing up here, who are here, we're advocating for Planned Parenthood. We are young enough and old enough to understand and critically think for ourselves what kind of needs we need when we ask when we ask the doctor what we're looking for. It's us doing the work. And for you to not allow us to enter the doors of Planned Parenthood and do those choices for ourselves is not very humane of y'all. You really need to start thinking about our healthcare. And that looks like opening the doors for Planned Parenthood. Thank you for your time.
Our final speaker, I'm going to call you up by your address, which you listed as Miller and Tamarine.
Okay, if they're not here, we need to move on. Thank you. All right, that ends public communication. And at this time, we're going to go to elected official communication. We're going to start with our city manager.
I just want to be clear, I'm appointed by the council.
Let me make that clear.
Yeah.
You were appointed by the council. Okay.
So, I don't have much to report. I do want to be clear about the sign ordinance. This is something that I brought to the council, mostly out of a response of us replying to sign complaints. So I take responsibility for that. But that's it. That's all I have to report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, city manager, but we all have had those complaints, trust me. And they're numerous. Okay, that brings us to our treasurer. Could you make a report?
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a little personal comment. Our family welcomed a baby boy on March 12th, and we feel so blessed. Thank you.
Is that a grandbaby?
Yes, that was a grandbaby.
We just want to make that clear.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, congratulations. Can you repeat that name or the name of the baby?
The name of the little boy is Mateo Richard.
Okay, very good. All right, City Clerk Jermaine Key.
Just a few, Mayor. Welcome to Mateo. Congratulations to our city treasurer for her first grandchild. I have 4, so I know each one is delightful, and hopefully there'll be many more. And then on a sadder note, my condolences to the Cruz family who will conclude the services for their 2 children on tomorrow. That's it for me, Mayor.
At this time, we will start with Councilmember Cochran.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you to my fellow colleagues here for supporting the item G on the Small Business Revolving Loan Fund today. I appreciate your guys' support on that. I know Reach appreciates that as well. AMPAC is a great organization. I look forward to partnering them for many years to come and seeing how they're going to flourish and help our downtown thrive with new businesses and the expansion of businesses in the city of Fontana to continue to make sure that we are providing jobs for everyone in our city on that side of things. And a little shout out to one of our chamber members. They actually was our sponsorship to give us some small business funds on that side of things. So thank you, Mr. Randall Reed. Randall Reed? Right? No. Yeah. I think I got his name right. Daniel Reed, sorry, Daniel Reed. Oh my gosh, Randall's down, mixing 2 people together there. Looking out the chamber, they're just looking at me blank faces right now. Mr. Daniel, he's gonna kill me now. Oh, well, don't worry, he'll probably be watching this in a minute. So Daniel Reed for helping us collaborate that as far as our business venture goes. They truly invested in the city and they understand our mission and AMPAC's mission, as well as the Chamber's responsibility of helping small businesses in the city of Fontana. So I really look forward to that. Besides that, I had a wonderful conference. Sorry, I was supposed to report this out. That I was able to attend with Civic Well, challenging us on everything from infrastructure to rail to our environment on that side of things, and the responsibility of our local governments, whether you are coming from a city of 17,000 to a county of 2,000 or a city of 220,000. I didn't realize how big our city was until I started talking to other elected officials from across our great state and realizing that a lot of the same issues that we face here, they're facing across the entire state of California. And so it was great to be having a collaborative efforts to be able to talk to them, see what they're doing versus what we're doing to make sure that we're all pushing forward to have our city and states thrive. So that was a great opportunity, and I appreciate the opportunity to represent the city of Fontana and go up there and hear and learn a little bit. So besides that, have a good one.
Mayor Pro Tem
Can you
Garcia.
sound?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have any comments this evening, just to wish everyone a good afternoon.
Councilmember Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor. Just condolences to the Cruz family, as our clerk mentioned earlier, but also condolences to the family of Jim Harley, an old friend of mine going back to the 80s with All Cities Permit Services that has passed away that we're going to remember in our adjournment in a few minutes. But Jim worked with me back in the day when I was with the fire department in getting a lot of projects through the system in our area. Was just a terrific guy. That's all I have.
Councilmember Sandoval.
First of all, congratulations to the Kohlers. I know Rosemary and Dr. Kohler are looking proud that that would be their great grandchild. So yes, blessings. So, second of all, I'd like to thank Public Works for the hard work they've done on the sidewalk repairs. You know, I got to see them acting the works that they do on sidewalk repair, and I have to tell you, people, these operators in the backhoe, they have outstanding skills. I mean, if you can pick up a big slab of cement with the back of the backhoe and put it in a dump truck without breaking it, that's a skill. And it also saves a lot of backs on people trying to lift up that concrete. So thank you for that. Also, Fire Chief, I have a message from Tommy, my grandson, since he can't be here because he's still in school. He changed his career to be a firefighter. So his career is firefighting, he did, but he would like to see if you can provide him with some badges because they're gonna have open house pretty soon. He'd like to be there and hand out badges to the students and the parents that come to the open house, and because he's gonna show off his project. So if you can do that, that would be fine. Last but not least, again, like my colleague said, closest to the Jim Hardy and his family. I've known Jim playing girls softball. He coached girls softball. You know, it's to see these gentlemen disappear, it's pretty hard in the city. Jack Long was another person that coached girls softball when it was Fontana girls softball, We're seeing these icons in the city that really help develop and show young ladies what it is to play softball, but also be strong women in the city of Fontana. So my condolence goes out to the family. Thank you.
All right, thank you to my colleagues. And as stated today, we will adjourn our meeting in memory of Jim Harley and his memory, and we pray everyone keeps his family in prayer. Wanted to report out that I did go to the Wasui International Celebration Exploration to get a sister city with them, and they are in China. And I gotta tell you, they really have done their homework on Fontana. They were very proud that they have manufacturers and we have manufacturers. They were very proud that we concentrate on our youth's education and exposure to careers, and we do that, and they do that. They were also proud that we have diverse culture in our community, and they were particularly interested in Stage Red, Sammy Hagar, and how we're doing our downtown area. And so it was just really delightful to brag about our great city. They have their challenges, we have our challenges, but it does not stop progress. And it does not stop this council and this great staff about getting things done. And so through that, I will be coming back to my colleagues with a resolution to make them our sister city of friendship. So I'm gonna be talking to some of the local businesses and different service groups around the community in the next week and a half to make that happen, because I wanna have everybody sign off and understand what that entails. And I'm particularly excited to work with Mike Carter and Alicia on how we work with the county. The county has already adopted them as a region. They are huge, by the way, 6.8 million people. But I focused on a district, which only had about 1 million people in it, so we're gonna work that out. So we're gonna have fun with it. And so I brought back their main artwork, and I'm looking forward to sharing that. I also wanna thank this great public for all the feedback I got back on the Spectrum interview they did. It highlighted not only my growing up, how I got here, but it highlighted our city, and I've got nothing but compliments from around the region, the state, and in some cases the nation, on what a great town Fontana is. So I'm proud of that, and that came across very strongly in that interview. Easter is coming. It will be here Sunday. And I want to wish this entire community happy Easter. Please be safe. Saturday is going to be a madhouse in this town.
Hi, Karen.
Yeah, for Easter egg hunting and all the parts that are listed in the book. Remember the book? That's the other, the first thing I'm mailing off to our potential sister city is our book. They were very happy about that. So make sure you're careful as you're driving around town, because you know how our children get excited. What crosswalk? So let's just all be very careful. And then we're going to have a lot of activity going on Sunday. Excuse me, particularly in the parks, with people with picnics and activities. That's all I have for now. But I'd like us to stand and give tribute to Jim Harley and prayer for his family.
What does it say?
Meeting adjourned.
And we're done. Thanks everyone. I'm out of here. Bye.
Moving like that.
This is it right there.
and everybody else left, so that's worked out. This is like the quietest city come to, so. Anyway, I guess this is for us, and you can take that, but alright. Scan the room. It was pretty boring. Hold on, it was pretty boring, but a lot of the Planned Parenthood kind of thing came up a lot. I never heard anything about, the Justice Aid. No one person brought it up, but you guys know they're still in. 7 of them still in prison, so But hey, everybody, hey Karen, but anybody else came in from and they have these meetings twice a month, I think, every first and last Tuesday of the month. So I forgot the last 2 months to be here. I forgot the February one, so thanks, Karen, you're the best. Anyway, and see, I might bring something tonight if I find anything, but this is, it's all empty now, so alright, see you guys later, bye.